Okay, hi there, back again, Steve Carroll with Painting and Drawing Intermediate. And what I want to talk about today is just using watercolour with everything. And I want you to experiment. I want you to get all your paints out. I want you to get everything you've drawn with already, everything you'd like to draw with, absolutely everything on the table. And I want you to experiment with how watercolour works with other medium. And the idea behind this is I want you to do for your homework, I want you to take a still life object or a bunch of flowers or something, an object in your home, and I want you to paint it in 3 different ways using watercolour and something else so that you have something to show me. Let me just talk about what I'm going to do. I've got right around all these different media and I'm just going to show you, there's my watercolours, and I'm going to just show you how each thing works. Now let's start off with wax crayons. Wax resist, this is a really interesting thing. I'm sure you've done this as children at school, but this isn't to be sneezed at because it's actually something that's used by professional artists. It was very popular in the early 20th century among British artists in particular, of a school called Neo-Romanticism. And the people like John Piper, Graham Sutherland and Henry Moore, and I will show you some of their work at the end of this video. But the other thing that you may have come across, I don't know whether you have, very strange, is something called water-soluble wax crayons. And you can get a lot of different types of crayon which actually dissolve in water, and these are great for sketching. At one time I used to do loads and lots of sketching using this, so that there are such things as wax crayons or wax pastels which are actually water soluble. You can also get water soluble pencils, so you could do something like this, okay, something a shape like that, and this is with a pencil, and then you can actually, let's just get a colour, let's get a subtle colour like this, just get some pink here, something like that, and you can kind of paint up to it, but it actually smudges and softens the pencil, and that's quite a nice thing to do. So you could try that. Let's do some other colours, something like that, and that will actually smudge the pencil, softens it. In some places you can leave it harder, you can leave it showing through, you can experiment with that. So that's a water-soluble pencil. Other thing I've got here is a gel pen, and I've asked you to get these. We've used these when we were looking at drawing with line, and we could do something like this. Okay, and then we could actually go along and we could get a nice bluish colour like that, and we can actually paint, and can you see how it's actually discolouring? It actually smudges the colour. That's a really nice effect actually, and you don't have to use colour at all. You could just use actually just water. Just remember, another thing you can take out sketching with you, which you can buy from shops, though I'm aware that we can't get into the shops just at the moment, is if you haven't got, rather than carrying a brush and ink around, you could actually use one of these, which is a water brush pen. You can buy these, a lot of the stuff you can get in Hobbycraft, and this is great. So you don't have to carry a bottle of water around or anything else like that. You just have that, and that's really nice. You can go the other way, and instead of using something that is soluble, you could use something that is absolutely not soluble, and these are things called oil-based pencils. A Pitt oil-based pencil made by my favourite German make Faber-Castell, and with this you can draw, and because they're oil-based, they won't smudge at all. So you can basically go like this and they'll just stay there, and it's actually quite good. This is the other way round. You can do it, and they're very dense. So that's another thing you can do. What else do we have? We tried charcoal. Let's have a go at this, shall we? This happens when I do charcoal, something like this. Okay, and then we paint with watercolour over the top, and let's see what happens here. Oh, that's interesting. It does a similar thing to what the soluble pencil does. It kind of just it discolours the colour, but that's all right because that's actually quite nice. I could use that. Yep, so that's oil, charcoal, and there are other things you can use. Just put that aside. You can have actually water-soluble colouring pencils like that. So you can just go something like that. Okay, and then you have another colour like this red here, and you go and then with just water, you can actually smudge them together. It's quite nice. Okay. So there's that type of thing, or you could use, you know, an actual watercolour with them and actually see how that smudges it. So you can blend those in together. So that's soluble colouring pencils. I could just show you something which is something called gouache, which I like using in conjunction with watercolour when I'm out sketching. And for example, if I just go back over to this one here, to something that's gone a bit dry, I can actually use this watercolour. I use the inside of the tin because I'm an artist, and you can do something that the gouache is basically watercolour with chalk in it. And so what it is, it's thicker, it doesn't go transparent. And so you can therefore do a watercolour painting and then go over with gouache, and you can actually do more solid detail in it, which you couldn't do with watercolour. You couldn't do that with watercolour. Okay, so gouache is really handy to use in conjunction with watercolour. You can use, there are all sorts of pastels that are water soluble. This is one, Derwent make one called Art Bars, but you can also get Caran d'Ache Aqua series, which are great. And these will actually, you can put them down just like, you know, oil pastel, but then you can kind of like blend it in, and they water down, and you can get other you know, subtler colours. You can kind of go right over it, make it kind of smudge in so it almost disappears. You can, I'm going to use a bit of yellow, you can use another colour and it'll kind of goes orangey where the yellow meets the red, and there's all sorts of things you can do with this. You can go right over it, you know, you can go like this, just or like also it almost disappears. Really very, very subtle if you want to get effects for things going off into the distance. Okay, let's try one other. Let's try soft pastels. These are my lovely old-fashioned soft pastels that I got, and you can do something like this. So here we have, and then what happens when we use soft pastel and water? Well, there we go. That's quite good, isn't it? So that's soft pastel, and that dissolves as well. So that's basically what I want to show you. I want you to try, just experiment and be prepared to fail, be prepared to do something where you say, oh, that was awful, and throw it away. It doesn't matter. That's part of learning with art. Sometimes you do things, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just don't worry too much about it. Just experiment. I'd like you to do maybe, you know, a sheet or two sheets like that of just watercolour with everything, and then I want you to look at one and say, right, I'd really like to have a go at, say, charcoal and watercolour. I'd really like to look at soft pastel with watercolour. I'd like to look at wax crayons. Get the wax crayons off your kids, and with watercolour. And I want you to do 3 paintings from life, from an object in your house. It could be, as I say, a bunch of flowers, or it could be an ornament, or whatever, however detailed you want to go. And I want you to do it in 3 different combinations of watercolour and whatever else. So look forward to seeing you again. I will be back. We have the Easter holidays, but I'm just going to keep going because, you know, we need something to do, and I'll see you very, very soon with another demonstration as we go towards painting. Thank you.